You hear the bone crack before you understand what it means. Dry grass scratches your ankles. A vulture hops away from a half-empty carcass. And somewhere beyond the acacia trees, the animal that killed it may still be watching. You are small. You are hungry. You do not have a spear, a fire, a bow, a cooking pot, or a safe home waiting behind a door. You have hands, eyes, fear, memory, and one sharp piece of stone. Could that really be enough? This is the world of Homo habilis, the ancient human relative whose name means skillful man. Not modern human, not ape. Something in between, walking through East Africa around 2 million years ago with a body that still carried older traits and a brain beginning to solve problems in a new way. The Paleolithic had begun. Paleolithic simply means Old Stone Age. It is the enormous stretch of human prehistory when survival depended on stone, bone, wood, muscle memory, and cooperation, not farming or metal. The earliest part is called the Lower Paleolithic, which just means the first and oldest chapter. And in that chapter, a small stone could become a turning point. For a long time, Homo habilis was treated as the first great tool maker. In 1964, Louis Leakey, Philip Tobias, and John Napier named the species after fossils found at Oldowan Gorge in Tanzania. The name was not random. Habilis means handy, able, skillful. The fossils appeared near simple stone tools, so the story almost wrote itself. Here was the toolmaker. Here was the beginning. Here was the first creature on your side of the human line. But prehistory rarely stays that neat, does it? Oldowan Gorge was already famous because Mary Leakey had uncovered stone tools and ancient bones there, and Jonathan Leakey helped find the fossils later assigned to Homo habilis. The place became a window into a world nearly impossible to imagine from bones alone. It was not a cave of sleeping cavemen. It was a changing landscape of grass, water, volcanic rock, predators, scavengers, and hungry early humans trying to live another day. The tools found there were called Oldowan tools, named after Olduvai. Oldowan means a very early stone tool tradition made from simple cores, hammerstones, and flakes. A core is the larger rock being struck. A hammerstone is the rock used to strike it. A flake is the sharp fragment that breaks off. That fragment could cut. That changed everything. Picture the tool in your hand. It is not a polished hand axe. It is not beautiful. It is not symmetrical. It looks like a broken pebble, because in one sense that is exactly what it is. But one edge is sharper than teeth. To make it, you choose stone that breaks predictably. You hit one rock with another. Too soft and nothing useful happens. Too wild and the stone shatters. But with the right angle and enough force, a flake pops away, leaving a cutting edge, thin enough to slice hide, scrape flesh, and open the locked containers of animal bodies. Was this simple? Only from a distance. A random rock is just a rock. An Oldowan tool is a decision. It means you notice that some stones fracture better than others. It means your hands learned force. It means your eyes learned angles. It means your brain could connect a blow now with food a few minutes later. That is not modern technology, but it is technology. The archaeologist Silishi Seimau and colleagues reported stone tools from Gona, Ethiopia, dated to about 2.6 to 2.5 million years ago. Those tools showed controlled stone fracture, meaning the makers were not just smashing rocks by accident. They understood in a practical bodily way how to create sharp edges. But here's the twist. Homo habilis may not have invented stone tools at all. Older stone tools from Lomekwi in Kenya have been dated to about 3.3 million years ago, far earlier than known Homo habilis. And in 2023, Thomas Plummer and his team described Oldowan tools at Nyayanga, Kenya, around 2.9 million years ago, found with butchered hippo bones and teeth from Paranthropus, another ancient human relative. Paranthropus had huge chewing muscles and a powerful jaw, and it was not Homo habilis. So the old story cracks. The skillful man was skillful, but he was not alone. Tool use was not a magic line separating human from animal in one clean stroke. It was a widening behavior, shared, tested, lost, rediscovered, and improved by several ancient relatives across a difficult landscape. Does that make Homo habilis less important? It makes the story more interesting. By the time Homo habilis walked through East Africa, stone tool use had become one of the most important survival strategies available to a weak-bodied primate surrounded by stronger mouths. Your ancient relative did not need the body of a lion. It needed access to food the lion could not fully use. That food was marrow. Marrow is the soft, fatty tissue inside bones. It is rich in energy. It contains fat, calories, and nutrients hidden behind a hard shell. To a starving animal, a long bone is not trash. It is a sealed package. Predators often ate first. A big cat could bring down an antelope. Hyenas could crush bone with jaws that Homo habilis did not have. Vultures could strip scraps. But after the drama of the kill, something remained. A leg bone, a shoulder bone, a skull fragment, a piece of survival locked inside a casing of mineral and collagen, the tough material that helps make bone flexible. What do you do with a meal you cannot bite open? You turn stone into teeth. At a site called Flakes in Oldowan Gorge, researchers have studied animal bones with cut marks, tooth marks, and percussion marks. Taphonomy is the science of what happens to remains after death, and in plain English, it is detective work on bones. A cut mark can reveal slicing with a sharp stone. A tooth mark can reveal carnivore chewing. A percussion mark can reveal hammerstone blows used to break bone. Researchers such as Robert Blumenschein and Manuel Dominguez Rodrigo argued over the details of these marks, but the larger picture is powerful. Early hominins were not just nibbling leftovers. In some cases, they were cutting flesh and breaking bones for marrow with deliberate force. Now reconstruct the scene. You crouch near the carcass. The air smells sour. Flies gather around the wet places. The best meat is gone or almost gone because a predator found the animal first. Your stomach pulls tight. Your group watches the grass line because an abandoned carcass is never truly abandoned. What waits nearby? A lion may return. A hyena may hear the bones. Another hungry hominin may already be moving toward the same prize. You do not have much time, so you grip the hammerstone. One rock rests below the bone like an anvil. An anvil is simply a hard surface used for striking. You lift the hammerstone and bring it down. The bone jumps. Again. A crack opens. Again. The shaft splits. Inside is marrow. This is not grinding bone into powder like flour. It is pounding, cracking, crushing, and prying until the hard shell fails. Soft, fatty, precious. You scoop it out with fingers, with a flake, maybe with a broken sliver of bone. It is not a feast in the modern sense. It is not cooked. It is not seasoned. It is not clean. But your body does not care about elegance when survival is thin. Your body wants energy. Your brain wants fat. Your muscles want tomorrow. This is why scavenging could be intelligent, not pathetic. Modern life often treats leftovers as low status, but in the Paleolithic, leftovers could be a strategy. A lion killed with muscle. A hominin survived with timing, patience, group awareness, and stone. Is that weakness or is that skill? Homo habilis probably stood around 1 to 1.35 meters tall, with long arms and short legs compared with later humans. Its brain was larger than many earlier hominins, but still far smaller than yours. Its fingers suggest ability with precision, gripping, which means holding and controlling objects with the thumb and fingers in a careful way. But the body still had limits. No one should imagine Homo habilis sprinting heroically after healthy antelope across open plains. That image belongs to later humans, with better endurance, better tools, and eventually more complex hunting strategies. Homo habilis lived closer to the edge. It likely gathered plant foods. It likely scavenged. It likely used stones to butcher carcasses when the chance appeared. And it likely made decisions under pressure. A single Oldowan flake could open skin. A hammerstone could smash bone. A core could chop. A battered stone could pound plant material. None of these tools look impressive in a museum case, but each one solved a problem your teeth could not solve alone. That is the hidden power of the first tools. They did not make your ancient relatives kings of the savanna. They made them better thieves. They stole nutrition from death. They stole time from predators. They stole possibility from a landscape that gave nothing easily. And this is where the story becomes counterintuitive. The first stone tools may have been less about hunting and more about access. Access to meat. Access to fat. Access to marrow. Access to foods that had been difficult or dangerous to process with bare hands and teeth. A sharp flake is not just a blade, it is a key. A hammerstone is not just a rock. It is a password into a bone. Once that password exists, the body can change its relationship with the world. Food that was unreachable becomes reachable. A carcass that was useless becomes useful. A dead animal becomes a temporary storage container for energy. How many times did this happen before it became tradition? One clever strike is an accident. A repeated method is culture. Culture means learned behavior passed from one individual to another. It does not have to mean writing art or cities. In this deep past, culture may have been as simple as a young Homo habilis watching an older one choose the right stone, hit at the right angle, and carry the useful flake. Watch. Try. Fail. Try again. That pattern is older than school. It is older than language as you know it. It is older than your species. Imagine a young ancient relative sitting near an adult flinching at each strike. Stone hits stone, a flake jumps free. The edge cuts a finger if handled carelessly. The lesson is silent but unforgettable. This is how knowledge can survive without words. It lives in hands. It lives in scars. It lives in the memory of where good stone lies after rain exposes it. The Oldowan toolkit stayed simple for a very long time. That can look like failure from a modern viewpoint because modern technology changes so fast that a phone feels old in a few years. But technological stability can also mean success. If a method works across hundreds of thousands of years, it does not need to impress anyone. It needs to feed you. And Oldowan tools did. They spread across Africa and later beyond it with early human relatives. They belonged to a world before metal, before farming, before pottery, before written names, before kings, before roads, before every object you now treat as normal. But the logic is still familiar. Your modern life is surrounded by tools that extend your body. A knife extends your teeth. A hammer extends your fist. A phone extends your memory and voice. A car extends your legs. A search bar extends your curiosity. Homo habilis did not have those things, but the principle had already begun. Your body is limited, so your mind recruits the world. A stone becomes an edge. A bone becomes a container. A carcass becomes opportunity. A hungry creature becomes a problem solver. This does not mean Homo habilis was a tiny version of you. It was not. Its world was not a cartoon of human progress marching neatly toward modern life. Evolution is not a ladder. It is a branching tree, and many branches ended. Homo habilis may or may not be a direct ancestor of Homo sapiens. Scientists still debate exactly how it fits, but the importance remains. In that ancient landscape, something close to you learned that survival did not always come from being stronger. Sometimes it came from seeing what others missed. A predator sees a carcass and takes the meat. A scavenger sees danger and waits. A skillful hand sees the bone itself. What looks empty still contains food. What looks broken can become useful. What looks like a stone can become a future. That is the mirror held up to your modern life. You live in a world of polished tools, invisible systems, and machines so complex that the stone flake feels almost laughable. But beneath every device is the same ancient pattern. A problem stands in front of the body. The body is not enough. The mind reaches outward and turns matter into help. Well, that began long before your name, long before your city, long before your species. So the next time you hold a tool, open a package, cut food, or crack something hard to reach what is hidden inside, you are touching a very old habit. Not the exact life of Homo habilis, not the exact first invention, but the same ancient move. A hand meets a problem. A material becomes useful. A future opens by a fraction. And somewhere beyond the acacia trees, a bone cracks, and survival hears the sound.